Good afternoon and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dawsbert, and as always, I'm super excited to be here. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Atlanta. Sunny skies, not a cloud in the sky. Spring is in the air. Yes, it is. We have made it through the winter. We are so excited about it. The weather, the temperature is changing, is going up. It's beautiful. Women are getting their toes done, having their toes hanging out. It's awesome. So we are so excited about that. So today, I just want to thank all of our new listeners. Thank you guys for checking us out and listening and leaning in. Let me give you a little bit of background about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. It's all about creatively collaborating and connecting to raise awareness regarding issues that impact women. And we do it by community service engagement, public speaking, mentoring. We have workshops and we have the arts. This particular platform, we've been doing it for a couple of years now, and I'm always excited about it because I get an opportunity to talk to people that I think are making a difference in our community. And today is no exception. Today we're going to look at it from an artistic lens, right? There is somebody here that has been doing phenomenal work here in Atlanta and really throughout the country. But I have seen her work here in Atlanta. I've always admired it, and I'm just honored to have her here today as a guest. Meet with me, my guest today, T. Lang. Hi, T. Lang.
Thank you, big girl.
Oh, you're welcome. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. Yes, welcome, welcome. We want to talk all about you. So let me just jump right in. Today's topic is dance and artistic expression. And again, like I said, my guest is T. Lang. T. Lang, where are you from? Where are you from?
So I am from the suburbs of Chicago.
Okay.
A small little town called Shorewood. It's near Joliet. Born and raised there, but then I grew up in my 20s in New York City.
I feel that New York vibe. I feel that New York vibe. Tell me, what was life for you like in Chicago growing up in the neighborhood? What was it like? What was the energy like? Was it music in the air? Give us a little background of that.
Oh, I love those questions. Thank you. So, suburbs of Chicago.
Yes.
Parents are part of the Great Migration. First generation after Jim Crow, and women able to have checking accounts, to be fully ambitious.
Yes.
So my parents eventually moved and built their home that is still there 45 years ago in Shorewood. It is still a predominantly white neighborhood. So I grew up with multiple consciousness. My parents knew that they were going to live in this neighborhood, but my family was not that far away from Southside Chicago. And summers, winters were definitely back home in the country in Kosciuszko, Mississippi with my grandparents. Wow. So I had the best of multiple worlds to navigate, to witness and see. So growing up in a predominantly white suburb had its challenges and hidden lessons that I had to learn and understand and manipulate and turn it for something of good use. But needless to say, I had some really great, endearing friends. I was able to have friends in multiple circles, cultural groups. Right. But the jocks here, the goth kids here, the break dancers here, the skateboarders there, and then the snobs over there. I was able and welcome in all of those circles, which kind of, guided me in how I'm able to understand and reach different audiences.
Yeah. What was the music scene like for you? What kind of music were you listening to? Again, because you're multicultural even as a young girl, and this is what I'm understanding, just the different neighborhoods and cities or state experiences that you were having. What was some of the music that you remember as a young girl that you listened and you liked?
Well, I grew up with Doug Banks and Tom Joyner on WGCI.
Okay, there we go.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so having a range of old school to what was present. My generation was Janet Jackson, went to
Yeah.
every concert before the show, but that and Paula Abdul, but
Yeah.
then Frankie Knuckles,
Yeah.
that's
The
happening.
house.
But my parents or my great aunts and uncles, they were making sure that we understand blues.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming down south, my grandparents were making sure that I understand Ella Fitzgerald and the lyrics of Billie Holiday and the complexities of a Miles Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I had it all. And
Yeah.
then, with my white crew, I'm
Yeah.
listening to Bon Jovi.
There you go. Shot to the heart and you're to blame. You give love a bad name.
So yeah, the palette, it was wide.
Yeah. So T Lang, when did you discover dance? Like, were you always a dancer? Like, were you moving at parties? Like, when did you fall in love with dance?
Yeah, I have that family that encourages you to get into the middle, the center, to show what you're working on.
Right.
To brag about what you've been playing with or creating. And I'm thankful that my family encouraged me always moving and twirling and making dances, to encourage that and to be consistent with that encouragement and support when I made the decision to measure and study the body in college and make a career out of it. So yeah, my family were always pushing me to move. And I was that child that would stay in my room for endless hours dancing with my stuffed animals, making up new dances, feeling that confidence of unleashing my imagination and creating new movements and sensing, eyes, even though they were inanimate objects, but perhaps they were spirits in my room, but communing and figuring it out in my bedroom. So when I was asked by my family to get out into the cypher or to the middle of the show, I had my moves ready. I had my intent. I had the courage to be public with my playfulness.
And it paid off. It paid off. So you took that energy with you to the University of Illinois, I take it, right?
I did. I majored there. Gosh, 20 some years ago.
You don't have to say. But I know it was awesome for you, right? So it was like, okay, now I'm taking this energy and this vibe and this passion that I have to college, and now you're experimenting more, you're dancing more. Like, are you starting to curate some of your dances at this point, T-Lane?
Yeah. I was immersed into the department and taking more classes than I needed to because, you always have to be 10 times as good.
I understand.
So understanding that, I said, hey, I'm committed. So taking those classes, but I also understood from the encouragement of my family that the club was also my training ground. The basement parties were also those institutions that I needed to learn how to move differently and understand that technique differently, and respect and honor those techniques and qualities differently, just like I was studying some of these academic processes with movement and theory. But it was in undergrad where I started my first dance company, my first dance collective with peers in my class, called What the Funk, and Counter Groove Dance Company. But yes, we were those rebels where we weren't waiting or allowing rejection if we didn't get cast into a predominant work. We weren't waiting for the politics to work in our favor. We started our own thing. We made something out of nothing to celebrate us. And we're consistent with curating those choreographic self-produced works off campus, which I guess really provides its foundation for me being always an independent freelance artist.
Yeah, that's awesome. You studied ballet, didn't you, for a bit while you were there? Did you have an opportunity to do ballet?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the forms, but in addition to that technique, understanding jazz and the origins that that stemmed from a Fosse, looking at like old burlesque dancers, but and Frank Hatchett's and the Debbie Allens, really understanding those aesthetics. I had a great professor that taught jazz, Erica Wilson Perkins, who really broke down not only the jazz fundamentals, but then how it was lending itself into house movement. And yeah, and then really studying contemporary modern. So beyond ballet, this institution was understanding that these abstract forms, these Africanist forms that they weren't truly acknowledging back then, but were the foundation of a diverse, well-versed mover. So yeah, those studies in those Africanist, like improv, jazz, and contemporary modern was my jam.
T. Lang, was it difficult for you to create space and start your role as an artistic creative? Was it difficult at that time?
Difficult in the fact that I wasn't going to allow no to be the final answer.
Okay.
So difficult with carving my own path, no.
Okay.
Difficult with not letting rejection or closed doors or being overlooked a deterrent or a detriment to the growth, nah. But I mean, it definitely had its levels to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did we get to Atlanta? Right? We're in Illinois and we graduate and we have a bachelor's, we get our master's. How did we get to Atlanta? How did we get here?
Well, I lived in New York. I lived in Harlem, and Upper Manhattan for 9-10 years. Specifically wanted to live in Harlem because I loved studying Harlem Renaissance. And all of the different clubs, the Savoy, Cotton Club, and Lenny's Lounge, where folks would cut up and create and innovate. So I wanted to live in that area and start my professional performance career. And after dancing in New York and eventually graduating from Tisch School of the Arts at NYU with my master's, I began choreographing as an independent artist and working that scene and working my movement voice.
Yes.
And I think after a certain time, you do some measuring, you reach some aims. You get to a certain point and you're trying to inch and you understand that it's still a game. I was always doing residencies, artist residencies, teaching my methods and creating new works for different companies and institutions that have dance departments. So while I was still in New York, I was invited to be an artist in resident at Spelman College, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't know they were looking for more faculty. So when I got back to New York, I got a call, and it was a call that made me, consider strongly packing up and leaving New York. And once I made that decision, weighing the different paths I could take, Orlando was a smart choice.
Yeah.
Where my work can make bigger impact. And I'm thankful to Spelman for seeing that and investing in that.
Yeah, you've done some beautiful work there. You've done beautiful work there in the museum space, and how you talk about the love of how you love how the dancers, when they move in that space, the reflection of their movement from the floors in the gallery museum, and just how they moved and the synchronicity, and just even what they were wearing in some of the movements that you put together was just phenomenal. So I was like, this is a great body of work, and we're going to talk more about that. I want to ask, since you've lived in New York, I'm a New Yorker, I'm from the Bronx, and I love Alvin Ailey, and I love watching Revelations. And so, T. Lang, I'm gonna warn you, it's a controversial question I'm gonna ask. When I always see Revelations, it's always a heart-moving movement for me, Revelations, right? Because it's depicting our story as African American people. And then, in the past couple of years, I haven't been in the last 3 years or so, but the last time I went to see Alvin Ailey here in Atlanta, and they did Revelations, and really the dance company had changed. And so when I see Revelations, I see people that don't look like me doing the dance. I see, maybe there's some Caucasian people, and I see maybe Asian inspired or influenced type people. I'm not really sure. But I remember seeing Revelations where everybody in that ensemble was African American, and now it's different. I guess my question is, does that still have impact when you have people interpreting a dance that do not come from that cultural black background? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh,
I thought I'd ask, and you can take the fifth because I don't want to,
no. These are delicious questions to be had.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's uncomfortable and true or false.
Yeah.
However, the response is, but it's good to analyze this. I have two thoughts.
Okay.
Around.
Right.
First, I want to address, and then the second is a tangent. But I think of gosh, I hope you guys can edit all of my.
We're live.
All right. So, okay, first, I think of the history of Revelation.
Yes.
The time that it was created, what was happening in time, in society, in culture, of creating that work that Mr. Ailey put his blood into. So now when we look 50 plus years,
right,
time, society, culture has shifted. And before we even look at race and the reflection of race, should we also look at the reflection of generation? There were some idiosyncrasies of Revelations that as time goes on, it ain't hitting right. The weight of the movement isn't hitting right. And is that a good, bad, or indifferent thing to notice? Because thank God that we're not getting chased by dogs and being splashed, by water because we're expressing the need for liberation.
Right.
But we are still getting, all the all the things that they continue to do,
Yeah.
but it's different, right?
It's different.
It's a different reaction or response. So should the movement based on different generations shift and change?
Okay.
Should the weight, the timing be different, interpreted different by the performer? That's one question to consider. But then also with the notion of race, now that we are seeing more cultures bite into Revelations,
Right.
was that Mr. Ailey's intent? Was that the intent of the entire American Dance Theater Company? Are we, you know, as we are asking that question, aren't we asking that same question for American ballet? You know,
Right.
where are we?
Yeah.
Why are we not, you know, why are we not on the solo or the, you know, in the front, in the core? We're asking those same questions. So yeah, you know, and we should continue, because how does that affect the viewer?
Exactly.
And if the viewer, if the percentage or the data still shows that it's still African Americans coming to see and demand to see Revelations.
Yes.
It's their responsibility from the artistic director to have it reflect that community or the American community.
I understand.
All of us.
Yeah.
It's something to question and consider and to really look deeply into.
Because the dance represents a moment in our past, right? It's not accelerated to represent what's happening now. I think there's other pieces in the movement that can represent that, but the Revelations piece.
Yes, and the question that I'm arguing is that can we look at Revelations as it relates to the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s and beyond?
Okay.
And can the movement, the weight of the movement, the timing of the movement, I don't know if you can't shift the moves, the sequence of the moves.
Right.
But you can you shift how you are distributing the weight? The nuances of the moves based on time, culture that we're in now. Something to noodle on.
Yeah, something to noodle on. I appreciate your viewpoint because you're brilliant and you gave it to me from a creative perspective. When I ask other people that are not as entrenched in the artistic space like yourself, some people will say, well, it's money, right? Because sometimes it is the people that are making the donations and being the sponsors, and, you know, so that's something else to think of, something else to noodle on, right? That we can think of. But again, I always...
And those people who, you know, find that they are seeking more representation on the stage, well, then go support your local artists like a T-Lang Dance. You know, we're seeing 40,000 people come to Fox in February.
Yes.
And, you know, we'll see, you know, 0.5% attend Bell Ethnic or Dance Canada. You know, there are other companies that are doing those.
Yes.
Stellar work.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about the stellar work, T-Lang. Come on. You've done great work at the High Museum. I love that piece you did. It was outside. It was lights. You bring in technology. Why the technology? Talk to me. You're so creative. You think out of the box. The lights, the sound. And I felt DeGrazier was like one of your people that, he was, yes, and he was so excited, and he was like, Michelle, you got to see it. And I took my son. And so he loved it. And, you know, I think it was interesting because, you know, most people think dance might be just for girls or very feminine. But my son really appreciated the lights and the way the girls were moving to it. He thought it was very interesting. And he was young. He's 14 now, so that was a couple of years ago. And I was like, you really liked it? He said, yeah, Mommy, I really liked it. So where was your inspiration for that? And bringing in the technology is just awesome. Talk to us a little bit about that, T-Lang.
Oh, thank you. And that's a major compliment when when toddlers can vocal articulate why they like a
Yeah,
work, a dance work,
they,
you know, that's when you're like, oh, okay,
yeah,
that's my job.
yeah, you
Okay.
was on it. You were on
You can
it.
affect different ages. Um, well, I love talking about untold truths of American history through the lens of a Black woman
Yeah,
and
yeah.
looking at different race, gender, class um, um, to analyze um, and technology is not far behind. It's interdependent of my work because I love the idea that technology, or however we're defining technology, play at that specific um, creation. For me, like dance, it's sovereignty, it's sovereign land, it's land technology where I can come away from the norm, the realities of this world, and create my own space, my own nurturing space. So a lot of the work, it was sparked by projection mapping and playing with Isadora and Resolute software and getting into more um, virtual and augmented reality, extended reality as I continue working with the Hive. They've been great supporters of my work.
Yeah.
But this play of technology, I'm looking at it as a space of freedom, liberation. I'm looking at it as a space where we can insert our soul, our code, so it does not become lost or manipulated. I am really interested in upping the ante as well in performances where it can go beyond the physical motion, but I want to bring in the audience deeper into my mind and my imagination, and with movement and the costumes and the light and the sound, what will it also be when I'm playing with artificial intelligence and how the viewer is responding to these new worlds. I don't know. I've always been excited playing with Atari and the Wii station and taking it apart and figuring how to put it back together
Yeah.
to make something bigger and fancier, but
Yeah.
not too.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Awesome, awesome stuff. I feel, T Lang, when you express yourself through your dance, I feel it's so intimate. Like when you did stuff at the goat farm, I really liked that space. And I felt like we could actually go and like we could just touch the dancers. They were just so there. And the silhouettes were just beautiful. And even the costumes, the colors that you choose and the thing, right? You're choosing the costumes. Am I assuming that right? You're choosing what everybody's wearing, and it's just wonderful. And I just want to get in your mind for a minute. Where do you get your inspiration from? Where do you get it from? Where does it come from?
these inspirations come from conversations
Okay.
with friends, with peers, with enemies, with strangers, deeply listening, deeply finding or being open to finding connection, and connection that might influence, inspire a spark of an idea. And then in turn, working with collaborators who are smarter than I and who are more daring, and telling them, sharing them my idea and seeing how they will respond and relate to it, so then they can add their layer of seasoning. The costume, the initial idea becomes even better and greater.
Right.
But yeah, it's being out in these streets,
Yeah.
listening, talking, and speaking to people who sure have something in common, but those who are not. Anything. I guess that goes back to circling back to my upbringing, right? Being
Yeah.
able to move in different circles or and be welcomed and accepting, so I can pull, extract, be inspired. So then the work that I do has a sense of intimacy, that this work that I do, that you and the person next to you that you don't even know are feeling something similar, but wanting to understand why, or your entry points might be different as to understanding the why.
Do you find that what motivates dancers today is a similar motivation that what you had when you were a younger lady dancing? Is the motivation still the same for dancers? What do you think? I think, and let me give you a little bit more. I think for me, seeing the Alvin Ailey's, the Judith Jamesons, the Debbie Allens, we had Fame to watch. Listen, we had Soul Train, right, to watch in the morning. That was inspiration. Do you think it's the same? Dancers today have the same artifacts to be inspired, or is it something different? What is your vibe when you feel with your dancers? They say I ask good questions. That's what they say.
No, I love that. Okay, so two things. One of the reasons I like to think I can teach anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Right? I like to feel confident with knowing and being clear with my expertise.
Yes.
But I chose and stay and remain at Spelman College because that is my activism. That is my, I feel connected. I feel like this is a great mirror, a reflection for me as the expert, but the student. And there's these reflections that are happening that, I can share all of my codes, yes, my methods, my theories, my understandings, even the ideas that I'm thinking about, because I can share it and communicate it in a way that is effective and similar to how I felt when I was their age.
Awesome.
When I asked my first years, so I have my dance company, I'm also a professor at Spelman, but when I asked these first years, and when they matriculate, the why are you here? What are you trying to do? How are you trying to elevate or empower this field? And they are all, in their own way, talking about being of service to movement, that there is a sense of, I needed to breathe and to feel grounded, to feel real, to feel a sense of, what do they usually say? What is this motion? Yeah. It is still of service. They want to give. They want to be a part of dance. They want to be dance. They want to breathe and all of the things, create and innovate and empower dance. They want to give it. And that spark is still similar to how I felt when I was a girl, when I was making those choices to study intently in different spaces. That I still see it. Now, wherever they go is where they go, where they're supposed to, but knowing that they want to be of service, I'm like, okay.
That's good. I think the outlets are different, though. I think, though, when you were a young lady, you could come and you can experiment in the clubs and do different things, like, as we say, in the streets, but you could see and pick up things and just express yourself and do different things. And I guess because I don't know where the spots are for younger people, like where they're going, because I just feel like it's just this. You're just doing this the whole time. It is. Right, T-Lang?
It is. Well, perhaps thinking of it like, okay, is TikTok the new club?
Right.
Like that, okay.
Which is what, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Whereas we were growing up, we danced for hours. Hours.
And I'm probably going to sound very ageist, and allow me some,
Sure.
Right? But y'all ain't doing it.
Yeah, you ain't doing it. You ain't doing it. We go out, have a change of clothes, T-Lang, because we would sweat out what we brought, and we changed and sweat and be like, and like hours, and my mom would be like, "You mean to tell me you're coming at this time?" And I was like, "Because the party didn't get hot till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and that's what it was."
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
And beautiful thing, like for that, unlike what I'm seeing and understanding with TikTok, is that back in our day.
Yeah.
You know, when you get into the cipher, you're showing individual expression of new generated movement in real time.
Right.
You're not repeating verbatim what someone else did.
Right.
Like you're doing on
Exactly.
on
Yeah.
the digital platform. So
it's a template now. Everything is a template, and we applaud them, those that are doing it, because oh, it looks really cute, but we want originality, and that's really the stem of my question with the dancers that come into your midst. You know, what is their why? And I'm glad to hear and know that their passion, you know, they're passionate, because it translates. I see it, you know, beautiful work. Beautiful work that they're doing. Beautiful work that they're doing. Talk to me, T. Lang, about the Movement Lab. What's going on in your lab? What's bro? And you know, I'm giving you a pass because of this doggone COVID, right? 2 years of us being locked in. But things are starting to change, so I'm just hoping maybe we'll see some. Talk to me about the Movement Lab.
well, thank you. The Movement Lab is on the move again.
Yes.
I love what we've created. So essentially, I needed uninterrupted space to work with my collaborators and my dancers. And you know, if I'm not going to use it all the time, if I'm not in the studio 24/7 like I used to, I wanted other Black women creatives and their allies to have cool, bohemian, safe, nurturing space that has resources for them to innovate and to execute. So for the last 3 years, it's been that space of service for innovators, creative entrepreneurs, and working through a pandemic has been challenging, and we were steadfast and thriving, and had to leave our location in the West End to come back to the Goat Farm Art Center in July. But now, just an update, the Goat Farm is getting ready to go through major renovations. So we're going to be on the move again doing pop-ups.
Okay.
But the Movement Lab is a space where creative entrepreneurs can come and workshop ideas, noodle around some ideas, have resources to empower their ideas with equipment or more brain power. It is a space where you can fail with an experiment and then tinker around and think about some more to produce and have a successful outcome. So right now we're going to be hopefully doing some pop-ups throughout the city, but I'm finding personally, for me, I need to fall back.
Really?
Maybe this year. Yeah, I want to fall back and re-strategize some of my business plans and build some more capital. Generate some more teams, more folks on my team to help catapult. So then when we come back into physical space, consistent, uninterrupted space, that launch some of my ideas that I've been thinking about.
Yes. That was my next question, because I personally would like to see you have a base in New York as well as Atlanta, and maybe back home in Illinois, and maybe there's some vibe for you on the West. Because I think your work is really good. And, you know, I love that you're here in Atlanta. We get to hoard you all to ourselves, but, you know, expanding your legacy and your footprint ideally would be phenomenal, right? So I am in agreement with you in expanding your team with more like-minded people like yourself, where you can have a beautiful piece, or, you know, and it can go on tour. Like, why can't T. Lang's work go on tour, you know, maybe spring or summer, do a couple of shows in different cities so people can, you know, see what you're doing. And because what we need, T-Lang, is inspiration, right? And most times for Black people, we're inspired through music, through dance, through art. And, you know, it would be wonderful to be able to see this. Like, there are people that have never been to a production, right? And you go and you bless them, and they'll see other brown and beautiful young ladies dancing and see a beautiful artistic director like yourself. This is inspiration. So, yeah, get out of the way, pandemic. Like, get out of the way, you know, so that we can get back into the physical space. Yeah, because I think we need it. I think people need, we need to continue to be connected to what makes us so gorgeous as human beings. And it always has been through our music and dance and movement, right? And everyone, even the people in your dance, they don't look the same. They're all built differently. They kind of move a little differently. One gives you a little bit more this way. Another one gives it. They just have their own spice and sassy and sauciness to it, which is just encouraging. Because, again, we are knocking down the walls of this stereotypical thing about we all need to look the same. And I think through dance, it helps people to express themselves as an individual with a collective group, right? So I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. I think it's awesome. So now you're going to take a step back, work on the Capitol. You got some projects in mind. I heard pop-ups. Could we expect maybe a pop-up here or there this year, maybe?
Yeah, you know, with all that. Thank you, Michelle. With all that I would love to do and to want to continue to do, fiscal support is certainly needed.
Yes.
Fund these crazy but cohesive ideas.
Yes.
That the company does. So yeah, we'll be doing pop-ups of our lab reports. I'm still tinkering, so I'm not ready to share.
That's fine. That's fine.
But also, as we're writing more grants and raising more capital, it's specifically for my new research called Black Soul Codes. This is a research project that myself and a longtime collaborator, Dr. Michelle Height, and I have been working on, and in addition with a new creator, an Imagineer, an engineer, J.C. Holmes.
Nice.
So I'll be working and creating and thinking and blowing things up and putting them back together as I'm thinking about motion capturing and creating some data sets and thinking about machine learning for movement in different ways.
Nice. Very good. That's excellent. I'm excited. I think it's a good time. It was unfortunate, right, with what we saw with George Floyd and just things happening within our communities, but it opened up the eyes of people, right? People that didn't know that this type of behavior was going on. And by that happening, people are opening up their purses and their wallets, and they want to support things that help empower our communities, right? So I think it's a great opportunity to just, as you say, just think about some things, get some things working on, because again, this work that you're doing is important. It's important. It is, because it helps continue to tell our stories, right? And we want to share them with the audiences that want to see them. So I think it's great work. I think it's great. How can people find you, T-Lang? Where are you?
Well, definitely check out our website,
Yes.
www.tlangdance.com. We're on social media, same handle, T-Lang Dance. T-Lang Dance. Find us. We're there. We're on IG and Facebook. I guess I'm going to need a new intern to get on TikTok.
Right.
I definitely need. Maybe we can start.
That's an excellent idea, T-Lang. You should do some teasers. You should just, and make it be about you, right? Just an opportunity to express how you feel through dance, because you still got moves, girl. I've seen you, I've seen you sweating.
I have 40 more summers here, okay?
Girl,
Back on moves.
I've seen it. I was like, go, girl. Get them together on the dance floor. I've seen it. So give it to them on TikTok.
Michelle, when's the next Tambora party?
I don't know. I have no idea. You know what the problem is, T-Lane, here in Atlanta? Unfortunately, a lot of the places and spaces we used to have for dance have closed down. So that has been the restriction. Like, that has been the problem. Yeah, because we don't really have the spaces like we used to get down, to get loose. So what's happening is people are waiting for the weather to change and everything is at the parks, right? So we got to find a place. I think there's some bubble and some movement at Underground Atlanta, Underground Atlanta. Some spots over there I haven't checked out, but I've seen some parties come through. But that's what we got.
You're right. I can't wait to have conversations about the underground and the energy of the underground.
Yeah.
I mean, what's happening is what's happening.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious with how Black folk are feeling when they go into the space.
Yeah.
They understand the history of the space.
Yeah, I don't know. And then, what's going on, T-Lang, is cross-pollination, because younger generation of kids are dancing with us and we're dancing with them because, we're getting older. We're not ready to sit down all the way, but we got to make room on the floor for them. And, so it's got to be a collaboration. It can't be old school forever. You got to kind of you got to show them, got to tell them what's up. You got to, you got to give it to them. So I'm excited to see where we're going with this, because I am not ready to sit down. I'm ready to, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to get my towel and be like, whew, because it's a release, T-Lang. You know it. When you dance, you let it all. You leave it right there on the dance floor. And we need it. After these 2 years, we haven't seen people. I haven't seen you in 2. I mean, we don't see people. And so we need it. So, yeah, tell the people one more time where we can find you. And your donation buttons are working on the website, right? We can make donations.
Yeah. And, if you make your donations, they're tax deductible.
Awesome.
Off. So we accept all types of donations, even well wishes.
Yes.
TLaneDance.com is my website. Yeah. And you can find us, T-Lane Dance, on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, awesome. It was a pleasure talking with you.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, you are a beautiful, insightful, passionate person. You are gorgeous inside and out. This was an honor to have this conversation with you. I so much appreciate your work and what you've done here in Atlanta, just touching the lives of so many people through your artistic ideas and designs, and it's just been wonderful. I wish you nothing but continued success. Anything that I can do with my platform and my brand, sign me up. I'll be more than happy to help. Volunteer, sign your people, walk them to their seats, usher, to do the parking lot at the goat farm, like tell them where to go. Whatever you need to just make sure that your nights in dance are successful, I'm there.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. You're very welcome. Well, that's my time, people. You know where I am. You can catch me everywhere. I'm Real Chicks Rock. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. You guys follow me. Listen, I got T-shirts out there. You guys go to realchicksrock.com. Subscribe so you don't miss a newsletter or a blog. Until next time, guys, listen. May you live to be 100, and I live to be 100 minus a day, so I never have to know that beautiful people like you have passed away. Until next time, take care, be well, and rock on.